Dr. Abul Pitre. Dr. Pitre, in Chapter 3, you stated, as an educational leader, one of the more difficult tasks that you will contend with is coming to grips with numerous race and racism find its way into schools. Can you elaborate a little more on that?
Well, one of the dilemmas for educational leaders deals with their preparation. And in their preparation, like most of us are prepared, we are taught that education is the great equalizer. And we intend to do well, but we never really analyze the systemic issues that exist in schools that create problems, particularly as it relates to race and racism. So, for example, when you look at the overrepresentation of African American boys in special ed and how they're treated, the overrepresentation of African American students in in-school and out-of-school suspension, educational leaders don't necessarily look at those problems as a problem of race and racism. And so what we've done is kind of draw from scholars like Lance and Billings that deals with critical race theory in education and contend that there's a need for educational leaders to be equipped with basic knowledge around racism, particularly concepts like critical race theory in education. And it's one of the issues that most educators and educational leaders in particular are afraid to address. If you look at the educational leaders who are not from non-white groups, it's very few. And so as a result, what you find is what Joel Spring talks about, the majority of your leaders in schools are predominantly white. And so what does that mean in terms of how they view or vision education for a growing population of students who are not white? And so I think, again, the critical race theory component is very significant, and the issue of race is very significant for educational leaders. And it's one of the issues that they have been afraid to address.
You offer in Chapter 3 not only information on critical race theory, but also many suggestions that will help educational leaders who have the best of intentions, but are hit with some of these race and racial issues once they get to the public school. How would you offer for education theories in order to move their school forward?
Well, the first thing, I think there's the idea of recognizing what is racism, recognizing how it permeates school systems, the impact that it has on teachers in terms of their dispositions, how they interact with students, and then looking at some policies, to look at policies that we might have in schools that might actually create problems around race and racism. And so I think those are some key components for educational leaders that if they begin to identify, begin to formulate plans of how to address issues around race and racism, that we can make schools better for our children.
That's a great suggestion.